Everyone, this is Kari with Temple of Geek, and I am here with a very special, amazing guest and my friend. His name is Willie, also known as KnewBettaDoBetta, one of the greatest Lord of the Rings lore masters here with us. What's going on?
Wow, that's a wonderful compliment. I don't know if I can live up to all that. Thank you very much. Yes, as she said, so glad to be here. Glad to be your friend. What's going on?
No, I wanted to, have a conversation with you because you've been doing such amazing things when it comes to, anything that has to do with Tolkien and Lord of the Rings. And, you're from New York. And you're from the hood. Anybody that's from like the streets and stuff don't get really the idea that, we're into nerdy stuff and nerdy content, right?
Yeah, it's like an anomaly. So growing up, I was always into it, but that's not what I did outside.
Yeah.
So, the people would know that I would be into it. They definitely wasn't into it.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing, they never discouraged me. They never teased me for it. They just was like, I ain't doing that shit. But
I love that.
It's dope.
But how did you get into it? Like, what made you want to start reading all the Tolkien books and stuff?
So I was always really smart in school, but I would act up because, I didn't know how to I didn't want to be, I was too fidgety. I didn't want to be in class. I felt like I knew everything.
Yeah.
So I would act up all the time and I'd get in trouble. I'd be in detention. And for a couple years there, detention was in the library. So I loved reading. I loved consuming it. It would make the time go by faster, especially in detention.
Yeah.
And I would read everything. And then I think I've read everything in there. And I was like, all right, there ain't nothing to read. And my friend came and gave me The Hobbit. And what made me read it, I saw the cover and it had a big ass bird on it, and a little person in the nest. And I was like, yo, that's ill right there.
Mm-hmm.
So I started reading The Hobbit. And I had even seen the animated movie, but I just never placed the two things together. And when I read the book, I fell in love with Tolkien's writing, his descriptiveness, the beauty of the story, the A to B of it all. It really is a full tale. The characterization of the characters, just is amazing. And so after that was done, I was like, yo, thank you. That book was dope. And he was like, yeah, read The Lord of the Rings. And I was like, what? There's more?
There's way more.
I read The Lord of the Rings and it was it for me. It was it. I was stuck.
Mm-hmm.
The way fear is described in there, I could feel it. It's palpable. It takes me outside of my world. So, even if I would be outside, I'd be outside and, somebody selling crack or doing whatever they're doing, it'd be a getaway, you know what I'm saying? Escapism. So, absolutely loved it. Just fell in love, just rereading it, all the books, got into the Silmarillion. Once I got an understanding of that, the way my mind works, it stays, and it was it for it. It was a wrap.
How was it? Yeah, because I understand the Silmarillion is like a very kind of complicated at first. It's like a very long read, very detailed. So was that something that you kind of struggled with? Did you have to reread it a few times before you understood it?
Yeah, absolutely. The way it's written, it's like I try to describe it to people. People always come to me and they're like, how did you read Silmarillion? Every time I try to read it, I can't get through it. I said, don't feel discouraged. It took me a few times to get through it.
Yeah.
Because he writes it as if you know the answers already. He's just throwing names at you and they're like, what is going on? But once it goes off in your head, it just chimes. You get an understanding of it. Maybe you got to just read, slow it down, start associating things with things. And once you get it, it's the most beautiful thing ever. And I'm a super lore person. I love connections from the past. And Tolkien, if you read The Lord of the Rings, he's dropping these little hints and things and he goes on past them. He doesn't elaborate on them. And you're like, yo, I wonder what that is. That sounded really cool. But he just goes right past it. So when you read the Silmarillion, you kind of find out these are the things that he's talking about. That are the connections to the entire world that are foundational. They're not even little things. They may seem like things in passing, but they're amazing. So whenever I suggest reading the Silmarillion, I say, read the Silmarillion, go back and read the Lord of the Rings. It's going to give you a whole new perspective on the Lord of the Rings. So, yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love when you could go back and forth, oh, wait, I remember this.
Yeah.
Going back and forth, and it completely expands the story better for you, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I'll give you an example. In the Lord of the Rings, in the Return of the King, when Gandalf is taking he's taking Pippin to Minas Tirith on a horse.
Yeah.
They're having conversations this whole time, and Pippin's like, "Yo, what's this? What's going on?" And he's like, "We know." He takes Pippin because Pippin touched the Palantir.
Yeah.
And Pippin's like, "Yo, what is that?" And he tells him, "Oh, these are the Seeing Stones. You know, Feanor made them back in the." And he just mentions that and goes on. You're like, "Yo, who's Feanor?" When you read the Silmarillion and find out who Feanor is and the importance of Feanor and the history of the world, it's like, oh, your world comes crashing down. You pick up every time you read it. You pick up something new. It's amazing.
It's the first book that came out was it The Hobbit or the Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
And then the Lord of the Rings?
The Hobbit and then the Lord of the Rings.
And then the Silmarillion came after, and that's when it got expanded, like a prequel type of thing.
Yeah, so he actually wanted to do the Silmarillion first he wanted to do that before the Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
But they were like, "We ain't looking for no encyclopedia, my guy. Slow down, my guy." You know what I'm saying? Like, chill. They was like, "Yo, we trying to get like another, story like The Hobbit." But he wanted to do something more serious and something more profound because The Hobbit is a children's book. So the original version of The Hobbit is actually a little different. Okay. And then when he decided to do The Lord of the Rings, he was like, "Okay, I can take what I did here and expand upon it. And now how do I connect this back?" And so he changed a couple of things, like the riddle game, for instance. It was originally different. And then he goes back and he's like, "I got to tie this into the Lord of the Rings." And he changes how the riddle game goes and, what's at stake. Yeah. So he even explains it in the story of why there's two different versions. He's like, the original version is the lie that Bilbo told. Oh, okay. And so that explains that. So he's masterful at his writing, masterful at his...
So cool.
The villains, like none other. Yeah. I'm a Sauron stand. The Witch King.
I'm a Sauron stand too.
Let's do it.
Yeah, Rings of Power definitely sold me. Sorry. I gotta say, he's on par now with Vader for me. So. Yes. That's a big thing.
I've been explaining this to people who don't really know because most people just watch the movies. Yeah. And so they see Sauron as an eye. And it's like, all right, but what is he doing? Yeah. You see the impact of what he's doing because he's moving so many events. Yeah. So the fear is there. But when you actually see the cunningness, the cleverness, the coolness, the power, like it's different. And he's not even at his strongest right now. He's about to be at his strongest. And he's about to cause a lot of problems. He's
like Palpatine times like 100 with the level of mastermind and like genius and like manipulating and stuff.
Yeah, he is.
Like, I always have to take it back to Star Wars. You already know what it is.
We know the vibes.
You already know.
Let me just tell you something. For some reason, the Lord of the Rings and the Star Wars fandoms are akin to each other, and we really rock with each other. So, you know what I'm saying? You go ahead and do what you got to do.
Well, we already know because George took a lot from Tolkien. Yeah. So there's going to be similarities for sure.
Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I love that Endor is actually something from Lord of the Rings, the planet Endor.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
No way. What is it?
So Endor is the moon, right? The forest moon.
The forest.
And Lord of the Rings, Endor is what's exactly do you describe it? It's like the world is called like Endor. It's like it's weird. Like the planet is Arda, but like it's also called Endor. So like it's dope.
It's just that's so cool. I didn't even know that. Yeah.
So some things in there from Star Wars that actually, I don't know if they come directly, but they're definitely in there together. So
that's really cool. That's awesome. So. You've gotten so big on social media with TikTok and, especially with TikTok and on Twitter and even Amazon. Now you're like regular, you're like, golden child.
I'm very, very blessed to be able to go and do these wonderful events and to be looked at as a place of expertise in certain areas. It's very humbling. I'm honored to be chosen to, go and be able to speak to the cast and the crew and the directors and be able to, pick their brains and talk to them about the fandom that we both love. Yeah. One thing I think a lot of people don't know is that these people that are actors and that are creators of these shows or these movies, they're fans and they're super into the lore and they're not just doing it for a quick buck. I promise you that. I've talked to them extensively. A lot of people just like, oh, it's a cash grab. Absolutely not. I can't speak to nobody else, but the ones that I spoke to absolutely revere and love and respect the Lord. So that's why I respect what they're doing. Yeah. Even if there's some changes or some deviation from the Lord, it's okay. We know because of certain circumstances, we can't get everything we want. We can't do everything how it's set in the book, and
Yeah, word for word.
it's adaptation, and
Yeah.
I think as long as they hit the main points, you know what I'm saying, and they entertain us, all good. The book is always going to be there.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
we know that.
No, plus it's impossible to have to, especially a book like the Silmarillion. It would be impossible to adapt because it's too much.
Too much, and they don't even have the rights. So
That's right. They
That's
don't
a
have
big
the rights
hurdle.
for
They don't
that,
have the
yeah.
rights. Hopefully, before I die, please, Tolkien estate, just give up the rights. You know what I'm saying? But them things is on lock right now. So
Yeah.
not sure.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. I know you have like a few podcasts that you do and, shows and stuff. You want to talk a little bit about that and where you can find them?
So if you guys want to check out my podcast, I do a podcast with my co-host Callie Cosplay. Make sure you check her out. Make sure you follow her. She is a queen and she is a goddess. She is marvelous. We do a podcast called Voices of Arda. It is a very, very dope Tolkien podcast. We have various guests on there. I think you were a guest on there one time.
Of course
We got to get her up there. And all are welcome. This is a safe space for everybody. And we talk about all kinds of things. But not only that, we have now expanded the Voices of Arda brand to on our YouTube channel for all of our Tolkien content creators that we have that are close to each other, that do content together, that meet up with each other, that do things on various platforms, whether it's Instagram, whether it's TikTok, whether it's YouTube. We all have, made this channel the home for everybody's videos. So you can go and click the playlist and learn lore from Miranda, who does Tolkien Tuesdays, or Kaya K, who does wonderful Lord of the Rings content. Belmont, he does Lord of the Rings content on TikTok as well. There's Bard of Arda, who helps run the entire operation. He is one of the most knowledgeable human beings about Tolkien ever. He does fantastic, beautiful songs. He is a absolute musician, genius. He knows more about the Lord of the Rings than me. Make sure you follow Silmarillion, aka Lee. She is fantastic.
Awesome.
She's from the UK. So we all get together and we do these things. If I'm missing anybody, just make sure you go on the Voices of Arda YouTube channel and check us out, because we is dropping mad Lord of the Rings facts. You know what I'm saying? And we block the trolls. We don't do that trolling stuff. That's not what we about. We about the love of Tolkien and the love of each other. So, you know what I'm saying? We try to move in a positive light. So it's a safe space for you to go over there.
Awesome. And I know you were working at also some like other shows. I know that you were going to upstate or up north
Yes,
to do and stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh man, I got so many stuff on my plate that I can't even remember. So I also, if you guys are familiar with the Tolkien professor, Corey Olson, I work with him at his university, Signum University. So I teach classes. I teach classes on the Silmarillion, so you can sign up for those. Also, I teach classes on the realm of Arnor, a lot of lore from there that's lesser known. I also have a bunch of TV shows that we are producing on the Signum Collaboratory. So that is Corey Olson's app that we have created, and what they created and they allow me to be a part of. So I have a few different shows on there.
That's freaking sick. That's awesome.
They are in production. They are being edited and everything. For example, the new bettification of the Silmarillion, KnewBettaDoBetta. I explain the Silmarillion in its entirety the way only I can. So everybody can understand it. You know what I mean? Anybody. I have a show with Corey Olson. It is called A Song of Words, where literally we compare rap lyrics with Tolkien's poems.
That is so cool.
Dope. Dope. We break down bar for bar each how they are the same, how they're different, the pattern, the rhythm, the impact. All of that stuff is dope. So rap meets Tolkien. Absolutely. And then I have Tolkien Arena that I created, where I do my versus battle, and we're literally in production right now, and we're going to be doing versus battles with Lord of the Rings characters with other fandoms. So maybe you like Aragorn and you want him to face off against Jaime Lannister. So we say, and that's, we have Aragorn versus, we set it up. We run through the skills very much like a death battle, but Lord of the Rings style, fantasy style. And, if you have any suggestions, hit it up.
That's amazing. You're doing so much. And I mean, it's well deserved. You're amazing at everything that you do, the way that you are very open and very kind when people want to know, when they want to learn, when they come to asking you questions. So you're such an amazing person. And like you said, this is all about positivity, keeping everything, fun and good. and not letting any toxicity or any negativity come in, because there's a lot of that. And
a lot of that. If some people think that's the way to be and that's the culture, let them do what they do. But you know what I'm saying, that's not the way we rock over here. And you know what I'm saying, this is a safe space for everybody. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the things where I was glad that even though I come from the environment I come from, they've supported me always.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, this might not be for me, but do your thing,
That's
my
cool.
guy. I support you.
Yeah.
I always respected that. You know
That's
what I'm saying?
amazing. That's awesome.
Appreciate it. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
No, thank you, Betta. Come on, man. You're my boy. I had to get you in here. You want to let everybody know where they can find you on socials and stuff?
Absolutely. So if you guys are looking for a New Better Do Better, look me up on TikTok. Literally New Better Do Better. But make sure when you spell the better, it's the A instead of ER. You know what I'm saying? You know how it go. So New Better Do Better. I'll pop right up. You can also find me on Twitter. Same thing. New Better Do Better. Instagram as well. I'm working back on my YouTube. My YouTube got hacked a couple times, so it's like rebuilding that. I'd rather you just go to Voices of Arda. That's going to be on YouTube. And then if you want to just listen to the podcast, that is also on Spotify. That is on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and also, you know what I'm saying, YouTube as well. So you can find us pretty much all those platforms.
Yeah. Awesome. So, all right. Again, thanks so much, Betta.
Thank you.
My friend, my boy. Thank you so much for being here. It's amazing. Always having a conversation with you.
Always. I look forward to talking to you every time I'm here.
Thank you so much. All right, guys. That's it for today with our special guest, Kari from Temple of Geek, and we'll see you next time.